Episode 23, The Witch Queen. We begin in Peraloon, the small moon-themed town on Solaria where Luna lives. A massive shadow creeps over the town, and as people look to the sky, they appear confused and frightened. We cut to Luna's home island, where she's currently enjoying tea and reading. Her relaxation is cut short as she hears screams from the mainland, and she looks in horror as the corrupted Althea approaches overhead, blocking out the moon. Selina, following Acheron's guidance, has moved Althea here to perform the Witch Queen ritual, as Peraloon's connection to the moon will amplify its power, and subsequently will make it easier to free Acheron from the Legendarium World. At Cloud Tower, meanwhile, the Winx are still recuperating after their mission in the Forest of Flowers. Bloom specifically is still processing everything that she witnessed, and her discoveries about Eldora and Selina. She knows she has to stop Selina, but she can't help but blame herself for what's happened. It's Roxy who steps up, saying that they don't have time for Bloom to wallow in any more self-pity. Aisha agrees, saying that whatever the reason, Selina has to be stopped before she can release Acheron and wreak even more havoc. Stella is of course terrified of him, given that once he's unleashed, he's likely to want to finish what his queen started, which won't bode well for Solaria, specifically the Selenian parts. And fittingly, Griffin comes in with news that Peraloon is in danger. After Griffin fills the girls in, we learn that she and Saladin have been concocting a plan to save Althea College. They've also sent word to the other kingdoms for help, though while on a call with King Radius, he refuses to help defend Peraloon, as in his words, it isn't part of his kingdom. Instead, he will keep his forces concentrated in Solaria's capital city, and will only get involved if the threat expands to Solaria. Everyone is disheartened, but Stella specifically chews him out, saying that they have a responsibility to protect all of their people, including her mother, who's right in the line of fire. Radius has nothing else to say and ends the call. Though Stella is upset, she's determined to save her mother and the people of Peraloon. All of the fairies, witches, and specialists stand at the ready as Griffin and Saladin channel the power of their school's hearts, lifting them into the sky and transporting them to Peraloon. The specialists will use their ships to evacuate the people of Peraloon, while the fairies and witches focus on surrounding Althea and preparing for any potential counterattack from Selina. Griffin and Saladin, meanwhile, prepare a special incantation to lower the barrier around Althea and take back the school. Selina, of course, starts to freak out when she sees this, though Acheron has an idea. It will require an immense amount of power from Selina, but it will be enough to keep their enemies away until the ritual is complete. Though Selina is wary, she gives in to Acheron's orders as he reinforces that this will be Selina's only chance to achieve her dream. And so she summons the Hyperion Guard, a platoon of legendary soldiers who served Thea, the Solarian queen who oversaw Selenia's eradication. These soldiers wield the destructive power of Solaria's sons, and are virtually infinite in number thanks to the Legendarium's power. To make it easier, these soldiers possess the Owls of Diamond, save for Chimera, whose deep rage is merely amplified by the guard's power. This act leaves Selina incredibly weak, but Acheron yells at her to complete the ritual anyway, while the Hyperion Guard descends on Peraloon. This winds up preoccupying the fairies and witches, trying to protect Peraloon while the specialists continue evacuations. Stella's incredibly anxious now, so while the other Winx head to Althea to try and break through the barrier, Stella heads to her mother's home to save her. We cut to the island, where Luna finds herself surrounded by soldiers. She manages to hold her own with her lunar magic, but the soldiers are far too powerful and numerous to be swiftly defeated. Thankfully, Brandon and the other guys arrive to help, soon accompanied by Stella. Stella recognizes the soldiers from Solarian history, and their presence likely indicates that Acheron is growing far bolder. Luna has an idea, however. They might be able to use the residual moon magic in the ruins of Peraloon Castle against the Hyperion Guard. Or even Acheron if Selina manages to free him. Griffin and Saladin, meanwhile, begin their incantation, connecting the hearts of Cloud Tower and Red Fountain in an effort to reach out to Althea. The spell is incredibly draining, but thankfully Farragonda steps in. She hasn't fully recovered from the Lethe spell, but she knows enough to feel her connection to her fellow directors and to Althea's heart. Together, the Company of Light are able to get through to the heart of Althea, taking down the barrier around the school and allowing the Winx to enter. Immediately, they are attacked by Clariel, who is still under contract with Selina to stop the Winx. While the other Winx deal with her, Bloom heads inside the school to find and stop Selina. Down in Paraloon, Stella, Luna, and the specialists reach the castle, only to be headed off by Chimera, who is determined to destroy Stella and the people that she loves. A fight ensues between the two, with Chimera's power infinitely more destructive thanks to Selina's power-up. Luna comes up with a plan to stop Chimera and the guards in one fell swoop. She rushes to the meditation chamber, focusing her magic as she awaits Stella to use her lunar magic in full force. Stella struggles with this, recalling all her turmoil with her father, as lunar magic requires her to navigate the darker feelings one normally suppresses. Stella tries not to remember at first, but Luna tells her to tap into your magic, you must yield to all of your emotions and memories, even the darker ones. With her mother's help, Stella yields to those memories. This powerful lunar magic forces Chimera back, combining with Luna's magic to create a powerful convergence spell. The resulting moonlight dissolves all of the Hyperion Guard in one fell swoop, freeing the Owl Diamond members, and even freeing them from Acheron's control, dissolving their Coven emblems. Back at Althea, the other Winx are fighting Clariel, managing to hold their own thanks to their Ardorix powers. Clariel refuses to lose her stronghold again, though the Winx assert that Althea's true strength is the same as any fairy's, the resulting magic that comes from collaboration. That has always been Clariel's weakness, trying to hoard all of the power and magic for herself. Using their convergence magic, the Winx are able to turn Clariel's strength against her, transforming her back into a golden, inanimate statue. In the Hall of Enchantments, Selina begins to recite the incantation for the Witch Queen ritual, only to be interrupted by Bloom. Selina reaches for the Legendarium, but Bloom manages to knock it from her hands, saying that it is time that they settled this without Acheron's meddling. Though Bloom is far stronger, Selina is able to mess with her head to keep an advantage, both with her illusions and by playing on Bloom's insecurities and guilt for their friendship and her actions this season. The fight is taken outside, but once the other Winx, including Stella, join in, they find this Selina, now on the ropes, to be an illusion. They rush back to the Hall of Enchantments, only for Selina to complete the ritual just before they try to rush her. They're knocked back as a green inferno surrounds her. As the flames part, Selina is now dressed in the garb of the Witch Queen Hecate. She's easily able to hold back the Winx's attacks, then picking up the Legendarium, unleashes even more green flames visible from Paraloon. Everyone is confused, though Luna realizes what this means. A deep laughter resounds, and from the fire emerges the rivers of the Underworld: Phlegethon, Cocytus, Lethe, and Acheron. Episode 24, Rivers of the Underworld. Picking up where we left off, Selina has completed the ritual and gained the powers of the Witch Queen. And with this power, she has released the rivers of the Underworld: Acheron, Phlegethon, Cocytus, and Lethe. Stella notices that they seem to be one short, but even then, the Winx are in awe of the overwhelming power radiating off the legendary sorcerers. Acheron greets the Winx, saying that he's heard much about them even from within the Legendarium World. However, he cites his own legacy as one much stronger, and soon he will restore the magical universe to its former glory. Stella specifically steps forth, saying that as the Princess of Celeria and someone of Selenian descent, she will never allow Acheron to hurt her people. This intrigues Acheron. He calls forth the Sword Ring of Celeria, which had been used in the Witch Queen ritual, and the scepter changes to suit his form. He says it would be an honor otherwise if only Celeria hadn't fallen so far as to allow Selenian trash to inherit the throne. This prompts Stella to summon her Ardoric scepter, and the two clash, with Acheron unleashing his magic, which is sourced from the destructive powers of a red sun. The other Winx, meanwhile, take on the other rivers. Phlegethon, the river of fire, holds the power of green flames. He is incredibly violent, sadistic with brutal attacks. Cocytus, the river of wailing, is quite stoic by comparison, openly pitying her enemies as she wields freezing water and ice. Lethe, the river of oblivion, is the youngest of the rivers, with an androgynous vibe, and their primary weapon are magical purple and gold chains. Flora and Tecna take on Phlegethon, Musa and Aisha handle Cocytus, and Roxy battles Lethe, hoping that defeating them might give them the key to undoing the Lethe spell. While this is going on, Bloom continues her fight with the newly empowered Selina. Bloom is still shocked that Selina could help someone as cruel and evil as Acheron, but Selina believes that she's still in control. She needs Acheron to achieve her own goal. This confuses Bloom, but it is clear that she has a rough idea as to what Selina means. The fights don't seem to be going too well for the Winx, as it takes all of their strength and cunning to even match the raw power of the rivers. The rivers even comment how the Winx don't seem quite adept at wielding the dragon flame, and Acheron comments how the light of Celeria is far pure and more refined than the savage dragon flame. Right on time, Farragana, Griffin, and Saladin arrive to help, with Farraganda using her magic to reclaim the heart of Althea, using its light to ward off Selina and the rivers. Acheron, however, doesn't mind at all, as he has something else in mind. He tells Selina to call forth the Palace of Tartarus, the castle from which the rivers of the Underworld ruled within the Legendarium World. Selina is again hesitant, but Acheron says that it should be an easy feat with her new powers, unless she wants to turn back now before they've even begun. Yielding, Selina complies, calling forth the flying fortress over Perloon. It still clearly exhausts her, and she's terrified by Acheron's eagerness to unleash the fortress's insidious power. Spotting this from Althea, the Winx are unsure of whether they'll be able to stop the rivers with the legendary power that they wield. As for right now, they need to keep Perloon from being destroyed, given the amount of important history and culture that it holds for Selenia's legacy. Not to mention that it is home to many. Stella has an idea of how they could keep it safe while warding Acheron off, and of course it involves some of the moon's illusory powers. Inside the Palace of Tartarus, meanwhile, the rivers of the Underworld make themselves at home, with Selina terrified by the macabre interior design. Selina inquires as to what Acheron promised her, but Acheron insists that she remains patient. They'll have plenty of time for that once they have secured their conquest. For now, Acheron is going to need the full power of Celeria's second son, the real thing rather than a hollow recreation from the Legendarium World. But before this, he wants to see Perloon, the remnants of Selenia, wiped off the map. Selina is utterly horrified but is too scared to speak up. She does, however, say under her breath that this isn't what she wanted. The other rivers notice the Winx approaching. While the rivers prepare their destructive spell, Acheron tasks Selina with eliminating the Winx. Selina says that she'll hold them off as long as she can, but Acheron re-emphasizes, "Did I say hold off? Or did I say eliminate?" This really freaks Selina out, but she thinks she has a way to use this to her advantage. She heads out and takes on the Winx, able to keep up with them and prevent them from entering the castle. At this point, Bloom is past trying to reason with Selina, while Selina comments on these being the new friends that she's been replaced with. Even when she severed the memories of their connection, they still rekindled their friendship, which completely enrages Selina. Elsewhere, the Company of Light, with Luna's help, prepares their own spell, and we simultaneously cut to the rivers of the Underworld preparing theirs. The Winx take note of the attack that is about to be unleashed upon Paralune, and they quickly push Selina away so that they can create a defensive convergence spell to try and block the brunt of the attack. Selina warns them that the Dragon Flame won't be able to protect the Winx themselves, but even though they're afraid, the Winx assert that it's worth it to protect the magical universe and Selenia's legacy. The rivers unleash a destructive beam of energy, a river of scorching light that will burn away anything in its path. The Winx manage to hold the shield against it, but cry out in pain as it takes everything in them to keep the shield up. Quickly, Selina summons the Legendarium, hoping she can time her spell just right. As light fills the area and Selina casts her spell, both Paralune and the Winx have completely vanished. Acheron and the rivers are exhausted, but are content, convinced that they have destroyed both Paralune and the Winx. On the ground, however, we see Paralune is still intact, but is being concealed by an illusory barrier of lunar magic powered by Luna and the Company of Light. Though Paralune is safe, everyone is distraught by the apparent demise of the Winx. Faragonda even breaks down, the memories flooding back as she begs her girls forgiveness for failing to protect them. Griffin helps her up, calling all of them to attention, as it is up to them to defend the magical universe on the Winx's behalf. As if they don't stop the rivers, they may be joining the Winx soon. In the Palace of Tartarus, meanwhile, the rivers take time to recharge their power as they make their way to the Solarian Palace. Selina, who has just returned to the castle, quickly checks the Legendarium, flipping through the pages until she comes to one with an illustration of the Winx Club. She takes a sigh of relief, only to tense up as Acheron calls to her. He's still going to need her powers to finish his conquest, and hesitantly Selina follows him.